So we have learned that diabetes means you have glucose which is not entering into blood cells. That is the fundamental problem. Now, what is the way to diagnose that you have diabetes? There is a lot of confusion about what is normal. So if you understand that if you have your normal meal today night and tomorrow morning when you get up, which normally means that there is at least 8 hours of fasting, and we check your blood sugar, it should be in the region of 110 milligrams per deciliter. If it is, let us say, between 110 to 126 milligrams per deciliter fasting blood sugar, we call it as impaired glucose tolerance. And if it is more than 126 milligrams per deciliter, we say it is certainly diabetes. After that, you get on with your normal life, you will have some breakfast, and then another 4 to 6 hours you'll have your lunch. After lunch, at the end of 120 minutes or 2 hours, you check your blood sugar. It should not be more than 160 milligrams per deciliter. So, whether it is glucose or any other food material which has got absorbed over a period of time from your stomach and is in the process of digestion, should not produce a surge in your blood glucose level beyond 160 milligrams per deciliter. So if you are having a post-lunch blood sugar or post-prandial blood sugar of more than 160 milligrams per deciliter, certainly if it is more than 180 milligrams per deciliter, you are actually called a potential diabetic, and if it is somewhere in 180 to 200 range, you are a diabetic. So that is the simplest way of testing. What should you do? Fasting blood sugar. If it is more than 126 milligrams, or your post-lunch if it is more than 170, 180 milligrams, you are surely a potential diabetic. Then if it is consistent and persistent, we'll call you a diabetic. If you are between 110 to 126, we call you as borderline, you are a potential diabetic. Now, what happens is, this glucose which is unable to enter into cells will do so if you take regular exercise, if you are having normal weight. So the first step for somebody who has got impaired glucose tolerance or is actually either potential diabetic or borderline diabetic or actual diabetic is to start with modification of lifestyle. This lifestyle modification compulsorily includes dieting and exercise. Especially if your weight is more and you are either in overweight or obese category, the first thing you have to do is to cut down your intake of calories, and second, you will have to expend calories, and therefore you will now start to have modification in your cellular mechanisms where the blood glucose will now be able to enter into your blood cells. So that is the first step, which is exercise. Second is dieting. Now after that, many people will say, we have been taking medicines, but we are not too sure. All the family members in the family where there is one person who is a diabetic must understand that if fasting blood sugar is kept around 110 milligrams per deciliter, if post-lunch blood sugar is kept around 160 milligrams per deciliter, and every 3 months you get your HbA1c or glycosylated hemoglobin or glycated hemoglobin checked, and if it is less than 7%, you are safe. So what did we learn in this video? Diabetes means you have got high sugar. Control means fasting blood sugar not more than 110, post-lunch not more than 160, and every 3 months get your HbA1c level. It should not be more than 7%. Then your lifestyle modification or medicines are working. If you bear this in mind, you will know when is your diabetes going out of control.